So before I ask my really really hard hitting questions, what makes this year so phenomenal for you? I know you touched on it briefly before we started this conversation, but what is the machine behind your amazing year that you're having so far?
Well, we're having an amazing year, but it's also, I think, been probably one of the hardest, not one of, it's been the hardest year we've ever had. We've had a lot of loss, a lot of loss in the family. We've had our dog passed away, the first dog we ever had. One of my daughters lost another pet, but then we also are experiencing many issues that we weren't really aware of until this year. My oldest daughter is going through puberty at the current time, and puberty has brought out a lot of different things that we were told about when we were first looking into adoption. Sometimes things don't come up until later in life, and we are in that year where things are coming up. So it's been kind of a struggle navigating
Now
through
I
that.
used the word amazing, Nathan. I said amazing.
Yes, I know. So, okay, let me rephrase that, I guess. things
I
things
mean, those are
are
good
amazing.
points, and I think people need to hear that for sure. But I was
Yes.
like, this is not the amazing part I was hoping for.
Welcome to Fathernetics, Fatherhood Unfiltered. I'm Jamil. Welcome to the podcast.
Do it like you could never find somebody do it like me. I'ma turn it all the way up, cause it kamikaze. Go ahead and try, baby. You are gonna see that you'll never ever find somebody do it like me.
No, no. When you had said that, I thought you were getting into like what I was referring to earlier. But no, I can get into that for sure. That's fine.
We're doing just fine. I think again, these are. I have a kid. He's 12, and he is pre-puberty. Although he thinks he's in the throes of it because he read a book, and he's like, "Look at my beard." And I'm like, "Dude, you don't have any face, any hair on your face. I don't know what you're talking about." But so it's coming down the pipe for me. So I'd be interested in understanding the differences that you're seeing that you can share that come out of adoption. Right? My son was adopted as well. So I think it's puberty on top of any of the pre-existing issues, traumas, conditioning that all part of the maturation cycle, if you will. So yeah,
Definitely.
let's go into it. What are apart from your dog passing, and sorry to hear that. How's life these days? How is puberty these days as a dad of a teen? Do you just have the one?
I have two, so they're 15 months apart, both girls. One is going through puberty, one is just about to start. But it's been an entertaining year. There's lots of good things, ups and downs always. But I think with this year, we're really looking at, a growth in our personal business, which has been exciting. We're starting to navigate fatherhood a little bit differently than we used to. Seeing things come up with our kids, now we're kind of figuring out and navigating through those different challenges as they hit puberty, but in a positive way. We're figuring it out. We're putting the time in, and we're really navigating through that. But it's just been
How'd you
up and
do it
down.
before? You say your fatherhood is changing, or the way that you're seeing your fatherhood is changing. How were you doing it before?
So before, it's really hard to say because with adoption you have paternity leave, so it's mandatory to have that time to connect with your kids. So I had both the paternity leaves with my children back to back, and then in their young stages, in their young ages, everything was great, positive. We spent a lot of time, we had a lot of fun. But now they're kind of developing their own personalities, and they're really discovering who they are as people, which definitely changes the way that you parent. It also makes you look at things a little bit differently in your family aspect too, and what you can and cannot allow them to do moving forward. So things do change, but it's been fun. It's been fun navigating it. A little bit stressful, but more fun than not. So it's just really just figuring out where we are now that they're maturing and kind of getting their own sense of individuality, I guess.
So do you feel that, and I always make this distinction, if you were a single dad, do you think you'd be able to survive it?
With what I'm currently experiencing, I would survive it, but it would be a challenge. It's nice to have the partner there
It's a
to
trick question.
to offset the balance, to have that one person that says, "Hey, walk away. I got this." It's good to have that other person there, the Batman to the Robin. But no, it's fantastic. I think regardless, it's something I always knew I wanted to do, being a parent, and my husband John knew the same thing ever since we were young. We knew, so when we got together, we always knew that wasn't even an issue, wasn't even a question. We were having kids. But the struggle is definitely there sometimes, and it's good to have that partner. Good to have that partner for sure.
So how soon into your relationship? First of all, how long have you guys been together, you and your husband? And then how soon or early in that conversation did having kids come up?
So we move fast. That's one thing you'll hear a lot, especially in our story, is we move fast. Our parents will tell you that. Our whole family will tell you that. All of our friends will tell you that. We met in April of 2011. I proposed in December 17th of that same year. When you know, you know. Kind of a crazy situation, but I've been with a lot of people, and I was young, but there was something very different about him. So I knew right out the get go that he was the one. And his parents, even right from the start, said, you know what, like, you brought out the real John. We now know who our son is. So that was really flattering to hear as well. But I proposed that same year, December 17th, and then we were married the following year, September 15th. And then not, September 15th, 2012, rather, is when we got married. And kids was a topic from the very beginning. Our families knew each other growing up, so our parents were already friends. Our families all knew each other, which was great. Made things easy when integrating the families, especially for Thanksgivings and Christmases and things like that. But we always knew we wanted kids, and we were told it was a very long process, especially with adoption. And with us, we weren't looking to adopt abroad. We were looking to adopt locally because we knew people within the children's aid system here, and there's a lot of kids that need homes. So before we looked about going abroad and going far away, we really looked at our local community. And when we kind of heard the pretty intense situation happening, that there were so many children that sometimes they were literally renting out cabins to house the kids, we knew that there was no question we were adopting locally. So we went through the children's aid system. We were told it was going to be a while, so we did like a parenting course, which was really cool and educational. I think should be mandatory for a lot of parents. And it wasn't how to parent, right? It was how to deal with specific situations that might come up later in life that you're really not prepared for, or that you don't get taught beforehand, which could be fetal alcohol syndrome, neglect issues with adoption. It could be, what happens when they do want to discover their birth family when they're older. All these different things come into play. So we took that course, it was a couple weeks and a lot of information. And, we were like, okay, we're done the course. It's going to be a year or two before we even hear about a pairing or a match. And so we're like, okay, let's adopt a dog, So we went out and we adopted a dog. And that Christmas, we brought home our first fur baby, Charlie. And then like a month later, we found out that we were a match for a little girl.
Of course,
so
because why not?
everything always happens, right? Like that. So we had a meeting on a Tuesday. We learned a lot about her and her family and where she was coming from, and the health and background and things like that. And we knew right then and there. We looked at each other in the eye, and that was kind of the decision. We knew that was going to go forward. So everything moved pretty quickly. And not long after our first child, we found out we were adopting our second. So it worked out very quickly.
So how long? When was the first child adopted? How long has that been?
So I actually wrote everything down just because I don't want to be that parent that gets it wrong. So we adopted Bryn February of 2014. And then Emery moved in June of 2015. Yeah, our youngest moved in a year after. But we already knew about her. It was all about how the kids become crown wards. So we knew she had a sister and that we were first in line match for her. But we couldn't meet her until she had gone through the court system and was ready to be adopted. And at that point, it was, really quick from there too.
So they're bio sisters, is what you're saying?
They are, yes. Same mothers, same birth mother, and different
awesome.
birth dads. Yeah, and there's a bunch of siblings that live locally as well, so they're all in contact with them, and they all know their brothers and sisters. Yeah, it's great.
Okay, so for our podcast listeners, where are you geographically? Because the terms that you're using don't sound like the United States.
No, we are not the U.S. We are in Ontario, Canada. So we're North Bay. We are about 3.5 hours north of Toronto, if you look at it that way on the map.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to highlight the first A whenever you use it. No, I think that's super awesome that you went the adoption route. As you know, from many of the podcast episodes that I've done, there's so many different avenues and so many different directions, and the length of time and the money that it takes to do that. We adopted our son as well. We did foster to adopt through the state program here in Arizona. So similar, but slightly different, right? We got him at 4. And we've had him for like the last 8 years now. So he's 12 going on 13, going on 58 at this point. So it's quite the interesting process. And then you have girls too, which I think is just, it's night and day,
Whole other ballgame.
I love talking to girl dad parents or dad parent. What do you say? Girl dad.
Girl dad? Yeah,
Is that,
girl dad.
Yeah, okay. because the difference in the experience is so different than my own. I'm always wanting to go, okay, does that match up with? And it doesn't. It doesn't. Girls mature a lot faster than boys do. Boys have different concepts of where they should be. Like my kid's concerned with puberty, and it's like girls don't even care about where you are with your puberty journey at this point. Like,
That's right.
let's be mature first.
Very different.
Oh man, awesome. Well, as far as adoption is concerned, I know a lot of parents do closed adoptions, open adoptions. It sounds like your adoption may be open. That might be an assumption I'm making. You can correct me if I'm wrong. And then there is that desire to continue to keep that connection with sibling, fathers, mothers, perhaps. I don't know what that looks like. So tell me what was the decision that you and your husband went through in saying, hey, we need to keep this open. We're going to work on keeping these connections going. Is the connection as strong as you want it to be? Or is it more like mine where we're like, maybe we'll just walk away from that?
Yeah, so it is a difficult decision to make. You, as the adoptive parents, at least here, have the choice whether or not we want to leave it open or closed. If the birth parents are in the picture, they do have a right to ask that it does remain open. And openness could mean many different things. It doesn't mean that there's visitation. It doesn't mean that there's videos or pictures being shared. It could be a letter once a year to even update them on how the kids are doing. It really depends on the situation and the safety, right? Which always comes first with the kids. So for us, it was actually closed. But the reason we are in contact with the siblings is because the siblings have all been adopted locally. Funny enough, it was two people we knew already, but they couldn't tell us that they had the adopted children because we hadn't legally fully adopted ours yet. But they were literally watching our journey on social media with kids with no faces, because we couldn't post their photos or anything. But all these people were like, "Oh my God, I can't wait to reach out to them because like we know them, we've known them for years." So how it worked was the birth parents, unfortunately, are I don't like to use the word unfit, or maybe just they're in a situation where it's not safe for them to be around the children, basically. So we made the decision to keep it completely closed, just due to the circumstances, which I'd prefer not to mention on on the video, but just very important to keep their safety first and foremost, right? So we knew that they had siblings. We got in contact with the adoptive parents, which again we knew, so it made it very easy for them to keep in touch with their siblings on a regular basis. So the first thing we ever did was we all got together for their very first Christmas photo. So when we adopted Emery, our youngest, we all got together and we did our first group photo, and now we get together occasionally throughout the year, whether it's a picnic or a lunch at a restaurant or whatever it might be. But we try to get together a few times a year at least so that they can see their siblings and check in on each other. And we used to own a restaurant and
Oh, that's
catering
awesome.
business. Yeah, and bakery actually. And the oldest daughter actually got to work for us for a little bit. So my kids got to come home from school every day and come to the restaurant and actually hang out with their oldest sister, right? So it just kept things very, very nice. And just it was great for the kids to understand, all the kids that were involved, to know that we all were going to keep them close and keep them in contact, right? Because when you go through
I
adoption,
like
we don't
that.
know.
It's very
Yeah,
very Hallmark.
yeah. Yeah, it is, and it just worked out really, really well. And the kids are all great together, and they're all different ages, so they're all experiencing different things in their lives, but they get to share that with each other, which is pretty amazing. So we're happy about that.
So understanding that Thanksgiving was here in the United States many, many moons ago, I think it was probably even further back for you guys. How do you guys coordinate that? I'm sure there's traditions that are built into it now, but is it more like come to my house? We alternate houses. We try to do a before Thanksgiving and then an actual Thanksgiving on the day of. And, there's just 10,000 ways to do it. But I'm
Yes.
guessing it's a little bit more unique when you have siblings that are adopted by other families that live nearby, friends that you've known forever, which is another layer of awesomeness, that you
Yeah.
have such a community of people that you've known for such a long time that are also adopting family members. That's I like that. So how's that work?
Yeah, very small world here. But so this Thanksgiving, yeah, we had ours in October. But we actually opted to do Christmas because the oldest daughter's away in college, so she's coming back for Christmas. So we're going to be getting together for an early Christmas celebration with them. So not sure what that looks like just yet, but we are in the midst of coordinating that, because as we know, it's hard enough to coordinate your typical Christmas or Thanksgiving with with your immediate family.
Fiance.
Oh, it can get very overwhelming, and you're at every different house because you have to please everybody, in-laws, parents. You know, everybody's got to be happy, and so that's hard enough. But we make sure that it is a priority for the kids. We never want them feeling like we're trying to keep them away from their birth siblings or anything like that. And it's just really important for them to understand, you know, where they came from and learn more about their family in the meantime. But yeah, they have a pretty close connection, which is great.
So, as an adoptive dad, or just a dad, um, what are some of the conversations that you have for readiness purposes to have? I feel like I'm not framing my question right here. Let me
I
rephrase
think I
that.
know what you're trying to say.
How do you get ready to have a conversation about what the adoption circumstances? Why are you with us now? Right? Has that come up? Not that we need to get into the details, right? But um, we've had conversations like that with our 12-year-old. He's known he's been adopted and has gone through that process since he came to us, because he was in the system for such a long time before we were aware of him. So there was no real, we didn't want to hide it, but we also want to make sure to be very transparent without disparaging his biological parents, because there's no need to do that. I mean, you've gone through enough trauma. You can sort that out when you're 18, 19, 20 if you decide to go down that path. But we haven't hidden anything from him on purpose. So your journey through that, does it look similar, or does it look different?
Yeah, very similar, I would say. Excuse me. Basically, what works out really well here in Ontario, at least, is that as a foster parent, when you're taking care of a child, you're expected, it's mandatory to create a life book for them. So
Hmm.
everything, whether it's pictures, medical information, whatever it is, that's all accumulated for that child. So when the child does move on to an adoptive home, you know, they have their whole history with them, including, you know, any back history that they need to know at a young age. So we were blessed in the sense that we had all the information leading up to when when they moved in with us. But from day one, we use those life books as, you know, it's a great storytelling technique, but it's also a way to bring it up so that they know you're number one open about it, that you're not trying to hide anything, but they also can understand that, you know, deep details don't have to be there just yet, but you're open to explaining it as they get a little bit older, right? And every year they get a little bit older, you can add a little bit more of the information in there. But I think at a young age, it's just important for you to show as the parent that you're there and you're not writing off the birth family whatsoever. Like you had said, there's no reason to bring up anything negative about them, whatever the circumstances is. It's just important to know that unfortunately they weren't, you know, the proper fit at that time to be able to raise you. So you were up for adoption. You know, we adopted you. You have a safe home, but we're also not opposed to, you know, teaching you about your birth family and for them to know that you're supported when the time does come for them to look into it. Because I think no matter the child, I can't speak for every child, but at this point, the amount we've learned and experienced, I think every child has that thought of where did I come from and why am I here? So at some point, they are going to look into it. And if you're open to it and they know that from an early age, they're not going to hide things from you, right? And they'll kind of take you along for that ride and that journey with them, which is really important. So they have that support on this side, so they're not doing it alone. So my kids do know a little bit here and there. We do look at their life books quite often. But yeah, I think when the time's right, they'll have a little bit more information because they are starting to get older, and that's just something that comes at the appropriate age, right? Depending on the
Yeah.
circumstances.
Well, we want them to be inquisitive, right? So the questions will come at some point. So at the beginning of your journey, do you feel like you had enough resources to get on that journey? Do you, whenever you needed to reach out and read something or hear something from someone to say, hey, if you're considering surrogacy, IVF, or adoption, or foster to adopt, or something different, somewhere in between, here are the resources that you can go peruse and educate yourself. Do you feel that was out there?
Yeah, and funny enough, before we actually even looked into any of this, the opportunity presented itself to us. So it's kind of funny how that happened. But you know how I am like with TikToks and things like that? Well, of course, when
Hmm.
flash mobs when flash mobs were cool, um, I took up
Oh, they
that
still are.
opportunity
Come
and
on.
I know I love them. Who doesn't love a choreographed dance, right?
Come on.
Um,
Listen, you get an idea. We'll fly up there and we'll get in with you. Just let us know.
yes, thank you. John's the same way. He loves choreographed stuff. But yeah, so I decided to propose to John with a flash mob in our mall at Christmas time. So it was December 17th, and
Ooh.
It was
Wait,
right
is
next
that
to
on
the
your
Bigfoot.
TikTok?
No, I have. Oh, you know what? I never shared it on there. Ah, I never thought of that. It's on YouTube. But yeah, that's a long time ago. Wow, I should share that. I never even thought of that. But yeah, so
Oh,
I
okay,
busted out the
okay.
moves
You're
and
gonna have
did
to
like
send me
a
the
Christmas.
YouTube address so I can go find it
That's
and
so
put it
embarrassing. It was
in
so.
this podcast.
We did not have it professionally done or anything like. It wasn't professionally recorded or anything like that. So I don't know. But anyway, it got a lot of views. We'll say that. But through that, a couple locally actually found it. So Mark and Steve Deacon, I have to give them a shout out because they're great guys here in the city, and they actually reached out and said, "Hey, like we live locally. We saw your flash mob. If you guys ever want to get together and meet, we'd love to meet, especially if you ever want to talk, maybe having kids or adopting. We adopted two boys. We'd love to chat. No, something simple but very, very sweet. And we took them up on it.
We would
So
love to chat with them too. So if they're
yeah,
listening, they
yeah,
can reach out.
yeah, for sure. And they're great. And yeah, so they adopted their boys. They had us over for some wine, and we discussed how we got to meet their kids too, of course, but discussed how they really got started. And they did the same thing. They went through the local children's aid agency. They had a great experience with that. The workers were fantastic, and so honestly, we didn't really even look anywhere else. We just knew that once we looked into our
I
local
think that's
children's aid
awesome.
system, that
But see, you had an opportunity to actually plug in with someone who went down that experience. It's like real life story mode, kind of like what we're doing now, which I think is what was
yes,
missing in the podcasting world. There are tons of podcasts out there about, your kid is coming to an age, is this the right behavior? How to get them to sleep? And all of that stuff is great. We want to hear that. But the
yes,
fatherhood component of how you got there, what were you thinking? Was this today we could tell the story and seem very confident, right? But at the time, I know going through the time, we were going through the adoption process was like, I don't know, like we're gonna get attached, and then he may not be here, and bio parents are doing A, B, C, and D when they shouldn't be or should be, and it's just a whole mess, right? So I can appreciate people sharing the truth behind all of that.
yeah, absolutely. And we appreciated it too. And it honestly eliminated a lot of work on our end, which was nice because there's so many options, right, on how you can go about starting a family. And I did hear about some people who have, gone abroad and they've done the adopt like, and there's hundreds of thousands of dollars involved, and then there's the potential for the child to not come over the border with you because the birth family and all these different issues and different concerns. And we just wanted it to be seamless. We were young guys, we were healthy, we were active, we knew we wanted a family, we wanted a family now. And when we took the adoption course, what excited us about that was they did give us the option to foster to adopt. And that was something that we learned is needed a lot more these days because a lot of these poor kids don't have a place to go. So you can foster to adopt, but then there was the potential that, through foster to adopt, as you know, I'm sure that, there is the potential of a family member coming forward and then the child going back to their birth family. Um, and with us being, active, being avid travelers and things like that, we had a really busy lifestyle, but we knew we just wanted to start a family now. So we wanted no risks to it whatsoever. So we wanted to go a route that we knew that once the process started, unless something happened on our end, it was going to go through. So at least for our first child. So that's kind of how we got started. But we had a great, great experience with our local Children's Aid Society here. The workers were absolutely fantastic. They were very compassionate. We asked the same questions a lot of same-sex parents will ask is, do we have a lower risk of being fit with someone because we're same-sex parents, or is that going to be an issue? And I can tell you it's not an issue here. Thankfully, we were actually the first parents paired with a child out of the entire course that was full. So that was really rewarding to know and to hear. But it was just such a great experience. There's so many details to it, but it was a great experience.
They're like, these gay
Yeah.
guys got it together. We need to get that rolling right away.
The gays just know how to do stuff,
Okay, yeah, we need to give somebody a premium lifestyle. This is where it's at right here. All right, so now the really tough question, right? What was traveling like before you had kids?
Oh, it was a breeze. No, you know what? We traveled a lot. And like I said, we were active, we were on the go, we traveled a lot, we had a lot of fun. That was great, right? Then you have kids. So take traveling in general out of the equation. Try getting into a vehicle with kids, let alone traveling, okay? Try getting into a car with the car seats and the bags and the diaper and the, oh my goodness, holy moly, there's so much things you need to bring now, right? So traveling became less easy. You know, we definitely looked at traveling a little bit differently. What are we going to do now versus what we used to do? Not to say that there's less freedom, but there's restrictions on what you can and cannot do with children, right? So things definitely changed, but I would say for the more positive and for the better. We're kids at heart, so we had quite a bit of fun with them, no matter where we took them.
A lot more scaffolding when you're traveling now.
Oh yes,
Okay, so tell me, where have you been? Where have you traveled to that's kind of fun and cool? I want to ask ultimately about your Universal trip. Um, but we'll get into that after you tell me all the 10,000 places you've been.
absolutely, yeah. So we're in Mexico a lot. We love Mexico. In fact, a few years ago, we actually almost moved there. We I think eventually we might end up in Mexico. I love the culture. I love the relaxed lifestyle of it. A lot of people are scared when they hear Mexico or Dominican or different places like that because they're just really you know it's just it has to do with not really being educated, I guess, enough in the community and the culture. But once you're educated enough in it, you realize that they are very safe places to be. You know, things happen where I live, things happen in Toronto. It doesn't matter where you are, things can happen. But it's about figuring out a lifestyle that you could benefit from, but you can also give your kids the experience of a lifetime, right? So that was something that we really took a lot of time and tried to figure out. We've been to Dominican as well. We're looking at right now, we haven't been anywhere crazy, crazy yet, but we are looking to hopefully do an Italy and Europe trip. I would love to do those. But we travel to Mexico a lot. Like we go there quite a bit. We're in the States a lot as well for work and things like that. And sometimes our kids get to come with us on those trips. Yeah, we love
It's
going
like
everywhere. I
just
love
skip the
culture.
United States. Just
Yeah,
it's a
I
flyover
love
country apparently for you guys.
exactly. Well, you know what? You know what's crazy too is even just the cost of flying in the States is so much nicer because in Canada, if I go to fly 3 provinces over, it would cost me probably $1,000 to fly. I could drive a few hours to Buffalo and I could fly from Buffalo to North Carolina, back to New York, and then back up to Buffalo, and it would cost me $236. It's like unreal the difference in cost. So things up here like are a lot more expensive, but that is why we like to travel abroad as well, because it does lower the cost. It allows us to do more with the kids, gets them to experience more and learn some different languages and things like that. But it's been a blast. Like I would say, don't ever fear traveling with children. It is so much fun, and you get to see it all through their eyes, which is really cool.
That's the bonus for me, and my kid loves to travel. Um, but it's all the vicarious experience, right? It's seeing the travel through his eyes, even for places that we've never been. It's so exciting to go there, but then to see his reaction to it. And a lot of the times, what I will tell you is we took a trip to Italy as well, so we got to go see the Colosseum, and we went to Greece and things like that. His reaction to all of these places was very like, meh, okay. And then it's like when he gets home, now it's like he sees it on TV and he's like, oh, we've been there. And so then that's when it all comes to life. But while we were there, it was very, oh my God, it's all the walking and it's so hot. And it's just like, oh God, like we shouldn't have brought you. We should have kept you at but we're glad we did. And
Of
expose
course,
him
of course.
to culture and food and all of this. It was a cruise that we took. It was like a 10-11 day cruise. It was fantastic. It was one of the best trips my husband and I, my son Jacob took. So if you ever get a chance to take a Royal Caribbean Greek island tour that starts in Italy, do it.
We
Fantastic.
actually have already looked into it. So yeah, yeah.
Do
So I'm
it.
excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be great.
It,
And like when we went to Disney, that was fantastic. And we brought the kids there as well. But again, it was even for them, like they had a lot of fun, but they got tired easily, even at their ages. And I think it was just the heat and the overpopulated areas, like so many people. But for me, I could do Disney 5 times a week. It is
okay,
so
so
much
you went
fun.
to Disney World in Florida, correct?
Well, I went to Disney. I went to Disneyland in California. It was actually a work incentive, and so we went for a conference. And then they said, "Hey, we're going to do an incentive for families to come to Disney." We're like, "Okay." So we actually earned all the tickets to go for free, which was great. So the kids came down and met us there. Our goal is still to do Disney World in Florida. There is a big cost difference in that, so we are
Yeah.
looking into that as well. Yes. For us to go for 5 days for 4 people, and this is just average staying on a resort, we're looking at least 11,000. So, um, And that's actually just 4 days, I think, 4 days on park. So yeah, I think it's just a 4 day trip is about $11,000. So it's a lot different than taking them to an all inclusive somewhere, or even taking them on a cruise for that matter. Cruises can be pricey, but Disney, it just went up in price again in Florida. So an additional $18 I think they added to the ticket prices. But
I mean,
definitely a
it's
magical
already
place.
expensive. Good Lord.
Yeah.
I haven't been to I used to go to Disney a handful of times. My husband and I have been to Disney probably more than 5 times, and then once we got Jacob, we took him once with some of our friends that live here locally. So that was an amazing experience. But the tickets are like, hey, you just want one day? It's going to be $180 per person. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
Not to
And just
mention
think.
food that's like the most ridiculous price for food for a little
Mhm.
hot dog that I could have made at home. Yeah, it's you got to be in it. I mean, if this is what you want to do, you got to be ready for that sticker shock. It's gonna happen.
Oh yeah, and keep in mind you're spending American dollars. Transfer that to Canadian, and you're adding hundreds of dollars on that. Oh yeah,
Oh,
it's
I didn't even think about that.
so yeah, because I'm in the States a lot for work, and I travel a lot to visit friends and things like that. But when I am there, people watch me and they laugh, and they're like, "Oh, Nathan, just spend it," and I'm like, "You don't understand. When I spend this, I'm actually spending this." And they're like, "Oh yeah, you're right," because the dollar is so awful. So if I take out $200, I lose an additional $100 to take out 200. So it's like, you got to kind of balance it and figure it out. But
Yeah,
to
please
me, it's the
continue to fly
experience.
over.
Yeah. But maybe I'll come down and visit you. Then I got a free place to stay. Hey, there, save some money.
Hey, there, yeah, absolutely. We've got the space. Yeah, that's gonna offset some of the costs of just getting from the airport in an Uber, I'm sure.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
All right, so tell me about Universal, because I saw on your TikTok you went to see
Yes.
Harry Potter Land, and also, which looks a little bit different than the Universal in Hollywood, I will say, because I've been
Yes.
to that one. And then Legoland, not Legoland, Mario Land also looks a little bit different, but you got to go there too. Tell me about that. Did you go by yourself, or did you take the kids?
So I went for a work trip, funny enough, to visit someone for work. And then a friend of mine said, "I would love to come. Do you think they would mind?" And I said, "No, no." I asked them and they were fine with it. So a good friend of mine, Monique, came with me. And so we just made it like a full adult trip. It was just, we got the Mario hats, the Luigi hats and everything. And we got all done up and went.
Hey, you
It
stopped
was,
being an adult the moment you walked in the front gates.
it was so much fun. Because Universal is an experience park, it's not a theme park, right? Like it's an experience
Hmm.
park, which is very different. No matter what you do, no matter what you see, you could not go on a ride in 4.5 hours and it wouldn't bother you, because the experiences that you're having are just out of this world. So the first thing we did was Mario, and we lined up first thing in the morning, and it was hot. We were already completely drenched and see through by I think 8:30 in the morning in that lineup. Everyone was like, it was hot, but that park was a lot of fun. That brought back my childhood in every little step I took there. That was absolutely
I would
incredible. So I
assume that there's a little bit of what we saw in Universal out there in Orlando. The detail that they put into Mario Land is unreal. That I really had a good time at that park. Of course, I didn't buy the little watch thing that you're supposed to walk around with. Whatever that, I mean, that the cost on that was ridiculous. That was just a
and that's a waste of
a
money.
bonus
Waste
trap.
of money.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, I don't know about that. But we had fun regardless. Without it, I mean, the ride in California, the ride. I saw that you guys were on a ride. It looked like it was surface level. The ride at Mario Land's actually underneath the area, so that was kind of cool. So to see that difference that you guys had, I was like, oh, maybe that would have been cool to have that little ride snake through the park that way. So something to put in the back of my head when I go to Orlando.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. They had the Mario Kart that was all kind of inside, which was nice. That was a neat ride. Then they had a few outside as well. The Donkey Kong ride was fun. But the Harry Potter world too. Oh, oh my goodness. I've never like that. That just blew me away. I don't care what anybody says. If it's a 5 hour line for that ride, get in a lineup. Get in a lineup and do the ride. It is out of this world. I'm telling you, I've never experienced rides like that in my life. And half of it, or more than half of it, was all virtual, like screens that made it feel like you were flying through. Like it was so real that the person I was with, my friend, well, she's going to kill me for saying this, but she got very sick, very, very sick. When we got off that ride, she was covered. But I will tell you, the staff were fantastic. They rushed. They bought her a Harry Potter T-shirt to leave with and everything. They were fantastic. But the rides are like no other. you will never experience a ride like the Harry Potter rides. So I don't care if it's a 5 hour line, you
Oh
get in that lineup and
no.
you wait.
Does she still
Yes.
feel does she still feel like it was the most amazing ride?
She was done for the day after that, unfortunately, but it was it was so worth it. It was so worth it. Yeah, it was incredible. So they do a very, very good job of that. So for me, if you're going to a theme park and you know that you might not be able to get on all the rides, do Universal with your kids. It is magical. It really is. And you can get a Harry Potter wand and you can make waterfall from fountains on the streets. Like it's incredible. They do such an incredible job with it.
Okay.
It really was magic.
So my kid has the wand and he has a robe. Um and because of the cost of those two things, the robe is in my closet and the wand is like in its case. I don't even know where that is, but it's somewhere where he can't get to it. Like it's not a toy. Like we bring that out on special occasions. It's because it was such a cool little purchase. It's so fancy. You got the picket and the color and what it does. And, we went with my mom and my dad and a couple of cousins and stuff like that. So they all got wands and they were walking, Harry Potter world, as I'm sure you know, it's a giant area. So you get to
It
like
is.
walk around and all this little magic stuff that they were doing, which was really kind of cool to see how they integrated the town into the ride, into the castle, into the, I mean, super creative people. Hats off to them for what they keep doing at Universal. Okay, so Fathernetics, or a big component of Fathernetics, right, is trying to discover and understand where that father energy comes from, right? So as you start to look backwards and go, I am the type of father that I am today, in part because of someone else, right? Obviously, you're carving your own way, you're blazing your own trails, but the individuals, the men that we are today, that lead to the fathers that we are today, come from somewhere. So where does that come from for you? Is that dad, mom, uncle, a cousin somewhere?
Yeah, I would say probably both my parents, I think. They both raised us very differently. But I would say that I think I have a lot of their similar traits, which is great. And my parents are very similar to my husband John's parents as well, where they do like to get out and do things and have fun and are social and things like that. So I think that in part kind of raised me very socially, where I like to be doing things in crowds and meeting new people and things like that. And I find with our kids, I see a difference in our kids versus others because we've allowed our kids to kind of experience all these different things at such a young age that it allows them to grow up a little bit faster, but it also allows them the freedom to go and explore on their own. So I think that's kind of what I grew up with was a little bit of freedom to grow up and make my own mistakes and learn from those things. And I feel like we've kind of incorporated that a lot with our parenting skills. A lot of parents panic about everything, but we kind of let our kids learn from their own experiences, and I think that's kind of helped us and helped them along the way as well. Um, but yeah, I don't know. They're just social, fun people, sarcastic. So I have a lot of that in my parenting as well, but it does shape your kid when you allow them to just have a little bit more freedom, and don't let them sit on their phones all the time. We
Oh,
have strict rules with that too, which
man.
really I find helps them develop a little bit quicker as well, not being on their phones and their tablets constantly. It's a struggle to get
So
them
tell
off,
me
but
how
when you
you
can get
came
them
to
off,
that, right? Because how'd you come to that consensus, right? Knowing that they're growing up, and I ask this question all the time, knowing that we're growing up in a generation where cell phones are a thing and our parents can't really help us there because it wasn't a thing for them, right? So we're learning cell phones, our kids are learning cell phones almost at the same time. And obviously we know the pitfalls, you probably more than most, since you do have a much larger following on social media than even myself at this point. We'll check back next year and see. We'll measure. Um, no, I'm just kidding. So some of the pitfalls that may exist just from having put your face out there. So what do you think is the driving force behind some of the, I don't know, baseline borderlines that you have with your kids now that maybe you and John came up with and said, here's how we need to do this?
truthfully, it's seeing the difference in them the second they put the phone down. Because what's happening nowadays, I find, and I'm no pro at this, but I can definitely speak for a lot of parents I see in public, is they will use the phone as an excuse to avoid any type of responsibility. I need to shop. So, my lipstick's more important than you. So here's the phone. Sit there for 20 minutes in the corner and I'll go shop for lipstick. Or, I have friends over, so I'm going to give them all of my attention and give you no attention. Meanwhile, you can balance that, right? But then I see a lot of parents will say, here's the phone for 3.5 hours and I have people over. And you'll see the kids just in a corner in the dark underneath a blanket watching the tablet. And then you just see it more and more and more these days. And I find kids are using it as an escape as well. They don't want to really face anything. They don't want to tell you how they're feeling anymore because they're so, I'm just going to shut off and turn my phone on and forget about everything. Like they're using it as an escape, but they're also, it's very hard to explain. I'm a big anti-phone person for kids. Okay. My kids do have phones. They are not active phones. They use it just strictly for the random time they have for games. We limit them to an hour a day on their phone. And a lot of times they do ask, why are we only limited to an hour? Well, if they're on it for a longer period of time and you take the phone away because they're not, if you ask them to take it out of the phone and they don't listen to you and you ask again, can I please have your phone now? Time's up. And they still can't hear you. You take the phone out of their hand to get their attention and they look up at you and their eyes are just red. They're bloodshot. They almost don't even remember like where they are at that time. It's a really scary thing. So we actually started to look into the science behind it. And what a lot of people were finding out in studies was, these kids, like, they cannot think the way they used to anymore because everything is so electronic, right? In school, they're using whiteboards. Then they come home and they're using technology. And then they switch to a tablet. Then they go play a game. Everything is so pixelated. Everything is so colorful. Everything's so vibrant. Everything's in their face. And, it's like watching the news for an adult where they're watching videos now where someone's talking here and very high pitched to get the kids' attention. But then down below, they also have a video of soap being shaved because apparently that's a really attractive thing to children these days. And then down below, they have another video of metal going through a grinder. And then at the bottom of the screen, they have things going across. And it's like, oh my, like, how can you watch these things? But the second the TV turns off, you notice a complete change in your child. They're almost angry, they're frustrated, they're agitated. And it's almost like the stimulation is so high that they can't come down from it. So for us, truthfully, I know that's a lot, but it is what you see with children these days. It's really, really hard to get them off of it. So we try to be very strict with the limitations. And if they want more time, they have to earn it, go out there and do like a nice long walk or, maybe get up and do some chores for a bit or something, or, something energetic or something lively where it gets them up and moving so that they're not always staring at these screens. It's just,
So
it's
that's what I was
terrible.
going to ask you. What do you do? What do you do to fit into that slot, right? Because I agree with you. It is a high stimulating type of engagement when they're on their phone or watching YouTube, and reels are short, quick infusions of dopamine, right? That high arc. Okay, next video, high arc. Next video, high arc.
Right.
So what do you do intentionally within your family to say, let's engage, right? We're gonna sit at this table. We don't have phones, right? Let's talk about your day, or let's play a board game, or let's pull out some cards and ask some questions, or I don't know, let's cook together. I don't know what that looks like. So that's my
Yeah.
question to you.
So,
What does that look like?
yeah, so that's actually a good question. And we do a lot in that sense, actually. As of last year, we have a campsite, which we spend all summer at. I can work from my phone, so I just work at the campsite, which is about 20 minutes from our house, thankfully. And when we're at the camp, there is no phones. There is no tablets. There is no laptops whatsoever unless we need them for work. But other than that, they maybe watch a movie before they go to bed at night. Like that is it. They are outside. They're either swimming or they're in the creek catching fish, or we're out biking or out for long walks or out chasing turkeys in the bush. Like very Canadian thing to do. But yeah, so like we keep them out and we keep them very, very energized. And that is something that I find when they're in nature, kids don't even ask for it. They don't even ask for their phone. They don't ask for a tablet. Before they know it, it's bedtime. We have campfires every night. It's the best thing you could do for your kid is get them in nature. Seriously.
So where
And
does the
at
nature
home,
part come from?
so the nature part is we love hiking. We love hiking. We love going for walks. We just love being in nature in general. So that's something we've always done every day is go for an hour-long walk with our kids, even in the wintertime. Usually in the evening, we have dinner and then we go for a nice hour-long winter walk in the evenings. It's just to get outside, get the fresh air. And no matter what you're going through, you tend to come back feeling a little bit more energized and happy. It kind of brings you up a little bit. So we try to do that with the kids on a regular basis. But other than that, it's the same thing. Like you said, we have game night. Dinners, there's absolutely no phones at the dinner table anymore. We sit down, we have conversations, we talk, and no one rushes out until the last person's done. Then we get up and, go on with our night. But It's just the simple things daily, right? Like ask how your day was, engage with your children, have a conversation with them. Because more time than ever now, it's not even the kids that are on their phones more, it's us. Like document in a week. In a week, have a piece of paper or even put it on your phone because you'll be on your phone when you do this. Is think about how many times you say 1 second, 1 second to your kid. Think about it. You'll have your phone and you won't even realize it'll be like 150, 200 times in a week that you'll tell your kid, "Oh, just 1 second." Why? You're watching a reel. You could have put that reel down and showed your child the undivided attention that they wanted, right? So where are they really learning these phone habits from, right?
Yeah, I think
So
there's a
that's
lot of
kind of
intentionality that
yeah,
goes into making sure that you're mirroring that behavior. It is a challenge for adults to do because we figure we've got it handled, and a lot of us
yes,
really don't.
that's
It's
right.
handling us, right? So I think there's a lot of intentionality to say that if it's going to be a universal rule, that it needs to be through and through, or you put the right parameters on it, right? Not everybody is going to do the exact same thing, but being on your phone 99% of the day when you have other family members in the house is probably not the best thing to do. So a lot of things to consider in those areas. So what do you
Yes.
do? What do you and John do when it's time to decompress? When it's time to say, "Hey, I need some time to myself away from these high energetic kids"? Is it like read a book? Do I go to the movies by myself? Do I usually take the time that I'm traveling for work to make that transition? Because once you get back, you're going to be right back in it. What does that look like for you, John?
Yeah, it's different every day, really. But I think the key is just communication. There was a long period of time where we didn't communicate that back and forth to each other, that we needed just some quiet time. Like, do you mind handling this while I just step away for a minute? A lot of times it's hard for a parent to actually say that to their spouse. But we've learned very quickly now, especially this year,
Like,
to be
don't
very
leave me
open
alone
about
with
that
these kids.
with the communication. Exactly. But with the communication, it's important because sometimes you do need just that little half hour to just shut off, just no noise, no lights, nothing. Go into a room by yourself, or it could be a dinner out with one of your friends, right? Like make a plan to go out once a week with your friends. And that way you have something that's your own once a week that you get to do and not have, not to say responsibility, but anything lingering in the background, right? Go for an hour or two dinner and have your thing. Or it could be a nightly walk like we do, right? It could be a solo walk for myself or whatever it might be. But I think it's just important
Mhm.
to voice when you need some time. I think it's really important.
Communication is key. I think,
It
again,
is.
making sure that mental health is also a thing, and mental health, again, is has such a negative connotation because people think, "Oh, you must be crazy if you're talking about mental health." Mental health, it's just peace of mind. It's an opportunity to decompress, reset, realign, take a deep breath, and it can be something as simple as you said. Sit in a room where it's quiet for 30 minutes, just so you can come out and be a better person, a better dad, a better husband. Because if we let things bottle up and get crazy, then at the wrong time, you're going to end up apologizing for something.
Yeah, exactly. That could have been easily avoided, right? And I'll be the first to admit that I won't get into detail, but this year was hell for me. I went through a really bad depression. I gained weight. It was awful, and I could not figure out where it stemmed from. It hit me like a ton of bricks, and it didn't leave for about 5 or 6 months. And then we had the death of my dog, and then a death of another pet, and then we just had some issues with some family members and things like that that came up, and it was just one thing after another, and I could not pull myself out of it, right? And then that's when I started seeing, you know, the worry with John and the worry with the kids. When the kids can start noticing that something's going on as hard as you try to hide it, that's when you have to kind of go, okay, I need to get the help. So I was very,
They
very
notice everything.
yes. And when they start to notice, that's when they start to think, is it me? Am I the one causing that? And then when you're constantly secluding yourself, to have your personal time because you don't want them to see it, it actually looks worse on them because they think that you're trying to avoid them. So that's what I started realizing was happening. So long story short, I finally did the call, got the help, and things have been a lot better since. But again, it all came down to communication, right? Whether it's your kids, your spouse, it's just about communicating what you want, communicating what you need on a daily basis. There's nothing wrong with telling people that you need something a little bit different than you might have needed last year, um, but just communication. There's nothing wrong with having a bad day or a bad couple months. It's just getting the help early enough so that it doesn't continue and get worse, right?
Well, kudos. Well said. I think that's
Thank
an
you.
amazing amazing thing to come out the other side, or at least make progress enough to be on the other side and be able to share that, because I'm in therapy too. I just do it just because it's the maintenance that I want to do, right? Not that there's anything
For
specific
everybody.
that needs to be addressed, but it's an opportunity
Everybody
to
should
talk to
talk to somebody.
somebody that's objective, that can call you
Hmm.
on your shit and be like, you said that, what your partner
Exactly.
said is absolutely correct, and you're like, oh damn, I knew, but somebody had to say it. So
Yeah,
I
exactly.
very much appreciate people that are brave enough to take that step, and even
For
braver
sure.
to be able to say it so other people can go, oh okay, maybe I should do that. So kudos.
Oh, thank you.
All right, so
Thank you.
my
It
last two
wasn't
questions
easy
here.
though.
Listen, you made it look easy because we don't see any of it, so kudos. Last two questions. What scares you the most as a dad, and what has been the most rewarding part about being a dad?
Ah, very good question. The most
Oh yeah,
rewarding
this one's
thing.
a thinker.
Okay, so let's go with you said the biggest fear, like what scared me the most?
Yeah, what scares you the
Hmm.
most? What's the most rewarding? I'll play some
I don't
Jeopardy
know.
music here.
I definitely know was let's start with the most rewarding then. So what the most
Okay.
rewarding is watching them grow up. Like seriously. From one year to the next, they are such different people. But they're the same person, but they're very different. So to that, I know it might not be the most exciting answer, but that honestly is the most rewarding thing.
As a dad, I get it.
Seeing a healthy preteen girl grow up and discover herself, her identity. She's starting to like boys, like all these different things that come up, different stages of their lives. It's really, really crazy and very, very cool. And before you know it, it's gone, and you'll forget a lot of it. So I think really the most rewarding
Well,
thing
see,
is
here's the
watching
thing.
all these
Here's what
things.
I think of, because we know our parents as adults, as dad, mom, and dad. There's no changing there, right? Apart from years and years when they become our friends instead of our parents. So that's static. And then we can't see the changes in ourselves because we're the ones going through it along with our friends. So we don't see
Hmm.
the changes in them either because we're all wading through it together. So to see it from a parent's perspective from almost day one, it's like, wow, like I went through that and now I'm getting to see it. It almost feels like everyone should be like, yeah, that happens, but no one gets to see it that way unless you're a parent.
Yeah. And it is a very rewarding thing because I think more than not, we always worry that we're not doing enough or we're not doing the right things or the famous, I'm a terrible
Oh, here
parent.
we go. You just answered your
Uh,
question.
yeah, yeah, I guess that would be the biggest fear is like, yeah, not being a parent or oh, you know what? I do know the answer to this question. And this is like a very bold statement, but I've had nightmares about this. I've had nightmares about when things don't go very well in a day, I will have nightmares. It happens. But I have a constant nightmare of my oldest daughter not wanting me to be at her wedding. And I don't know why this is like an ongoing, reoccurring nightmare, but I have this all the time. I always envision like I can't wait till she gets married if she wants to get married, you know. But I'm always like, oh, I can't wait, and I'm always very excited about the father-daughter dance because she has two dads she gets to dance with, you know. Like we can figure out a cool way to do it, if she wants. But then when something doesn't go right, I will have a nightmare of her being like, I don't even want you there. I don't want you to dance with me, and like I don't know why, but I think my biggest fear is
Oh
disappointing
no.
them. I think that really is the biggest fear, and not being that person that could have helped them out of a situation, which I did. With adoption, you're helping them out of a situation, giving them a better life and all of that. But you have that constant fear that you're not going to be what they envision for that. So I think that would be my biggest fear, I think. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Hmm.
Have you shared that with her at all, so that she knows, hey, this can't happen?
Yeah, no, I haven't shared that with her, but she's going through a lot right now too, being like, a preteen girl and all that stuff too, and I don't want to bombard her with my own things, but that is a worry for me, I think, is maybe eventually the kids will look at me and say, "Hey, you know what? You're not that person I was hoping you'd be in this situation of adoption and thing." Like that I think would be my biggest fear. Yeah, that's a hard one,
That will
but
never happen. They will see you as
I hope
dad, and
not.
you're the superhero that every single dad ends up being. Every intentional parent ends up being that superhero. Um, Canada, do you guys do Sweet 16?
So we don't typically do Sweet 16. 16th birthday is a big deal for any girl, but we don't really call it Sweet 16. They might wear a sash like for fun, but we don't go as big as like the States does for Sweet 16s. But it'll definitely be a big birthday. She's got gay dads.
Okay, well
Can't be
you're
anything
gay,
less.
so you can. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can change it up.
It'll be bedazzled everything though. But
Don't you
yeah,
wish your parents were gay like mine? Look at this.
don't you wish your parents were gay like mine?
Look at you. Look at you. All right, Nathan.
Too funny.
In the outro here, your the business that you're running, what is that? Tell us. Give us the quick 30 seconds about that.
Yeah, so I work with Neor, so I'm a partner with Neor. I focus on skincare, hair care, wellness, and beauty, and things like that. We're the highest clean standard in the industry, so we focus on plant-based and holistic alternatives. So no chemicals, no retinols, no added scents, nothing bad in the products whatsoever. But it's really about what I didn't really notice at the time was just helping people regain their confidence back, right? Whether it's skincare, wellness, gut health, hair care. But our products are pretty incredible. So when I owned a restaurant, catering business, and bakery with my husband, I had no intention of ever trying out a business like this. We worked 24 hours a day. We were run ragged, and I just tried it out. I loved it, loved the products. And within a few months of working this business, I was able to kind of look at another option for being home more with my kids. And that was more important to me than being a successful restaurateur. So this is a business that I've been doing now for 6.5 years from home, from my phone, which I'm loving. We're in 10 different countries, so I get to help other people grow businesses too, which is great. But for me, it was like a way out of this hell that we created, which again was a successful hell with restaurant and catering business and bakery. But people don't understand the work and the time that goes into a business like that. And we went from adopting two beautiful girls and trying to give them an incredible life to never seeing them. And when they saw us, they got the worst versions of us possible. So I'm very thankful to be doing what I am today. And I get to be at every recital, every graduation. I get to be at every soccer practice. I get to be at everything now, which is awesome. So it's been a very rewarding thing for me to change careers and things like that. But yeah, it's been great.
Well, awesome. It sounds like you made the right move, and you seem pretty
Yes.
happy about it too, just based on
Yeah.
on your TikToks. I keep mentioning that because it's your TikToks are like so high energy, which kudos. I don't know where you get it from, but that's
don't know
exactly
either.
where it needs to be.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Well,
I
listen,
appreciate
Nathan,
that.
this has been fantastic. I appreciate you taking the time. I know it was a circus trying to get us together, but I'm glad that we
Yes.
finally nailed down some time and got to
Yes,
share your
me too,
story.
me
This was
too.
fantastic. So make sure to say
Yeah,
hi to
and
John for me next time. Next
I
time we'll
will,
have
for
him on
sure.
the show.
Yeah, and I wanted to say too, I thank you for doing this podcast because, like you're saying, oh, we don't have that many followers. You will gain those followers. What you're doing is very, very
I'm
important.
not worried about it.
We work
That
with
will come over time.
yes, but we work with an organization here in town called Out Loud, and they're fantastic for everything LGBTQ2 plus. And I think what you're doing is fantastic. So keep it up. It's going to be awesome, and I can't wait to see when you hit that 10 million follower range.
Ooh, next week.
You got it. You got it. Let's go. Let's go.
Do it, do it.